Okay, so now we would move forward, and after the joy what we've been having, now we would have a different kind of presentation, and probably all of you has been seeing that Game of Thrones, right? And so in the Game of Thrones, it was a mother of dragons. And during the couple of days pre-conference, we've been discussing about a specific, not dragon, but beast as well. Beast, which called AI. And this beast actually should be managed somehow, but nobody knows how. But here we have a person who probably has a possibility to tell us how to manage that. And I'm really glad to present to you Dr. Yesha Sivan, who is a founder and CEO of Mindel Lee. He would say what it is. But he's been a long associate for Adizes Institute in Israel. And he is also a visiting professor at different universities in Israel, in Hong Kong, etc. So he definitely has, if not recipes, so good insights, how to handle that beast, AI. So, Yesha, floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, check number one, can you hear me? Everybody can hear me? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, okay. Presentation, very nice. Testing the technology, that's the first thing. I want to make sure that everybody can see everything. So this is me, over here, if you don't remember. This is the year. So everything works. So I'm very excited to be here. I've been working closely with the Adizes himself for the last 6 years with the impossible mission of trying to understand the meaning of change. Because this is why we're all here, right? The world is changing, we are changing, and the entire essence of the Adizes methodology is how to deal with change, right? But you know that. What I'm here to tell you is that the biggest change ever is coming. In fact, it's not coming, it's here. And if you are not dealing with it, that's it, you're gone. And the whole purpose of my talk today is to give you this window to this change, so you can go through the window, through the door, and learn more about it and set your own direction within it. The one word which I want you to remember is this word, AGI, Artificial General Intelligence. So it's not AI, it's Artificial General Intelligence. I'm going to explain that in a second, but that is the change. That is the name of the change. We're going to have only 5 parts. Usually the whole thing takes 6 hours, but I just got 45 minutes, so everything will be squeezed. But you will get lots of references as to how to step into it. I'm going to start with an opening. I'm going to give you a little bit about the position of this change within the life of the organization, and you will recognize this as part of the Adizes conceptualization. I'm going to talk about several demonstrative cases of artificial general intelligence, just to give you concrete things that are happening today in the world. I'm going to end my formal talk with the 5 steps, meaning what you as a CEO or a leader of the company can do when it comes to AGI. And then the most important part is the Q&A, is the questions. Because I want you to think very carefully about your question, because your question and your question and your question are very important for the other people to understand what we're doing here. Opening. Ta-da! So great opening with the beast. So usually my talk is called the AGI elephant. Why AGI elephant? Because that's the only thing people remember from my talk. They don't remember anything else. So that's that. So famous Indian story. You have 5 monks. They go into a room. The room is dark. And there's an elephant in the room. And everybody touches a certain part of this elephant. And everybody, of course, says something else. It's like a column. It's a pointed. It's like a brush. It's like a, a blanket if it's the ear. The same goes for AGI. Most people today, because of their own experience, think that AI is just a glorified search engine. How many people are using AI over here? Perfect, perfect, perfect. How many people are using AI more than a search engine? I love you more. Glorified smart search engine. What I see in AI is a mechanism to create more gaps in the society. More gaps in the society. Meaning, those who are connected to the world, those who are connected to the digital world, will gain 10 times more power. Those who are not connected will go underneath. So I see it as a social differentiator, and if we're not careful about it, it's going to be 100 times more powerful than what other digital technologies has done. I'll give you an immediate hint. If you really want to see the power of AI and the specific power of AGI, please follow your friends who are programmers, who are developers. Why? Because programming is the most advanced field whereby AI has completely changed the profession. Completely changed the profession. There are several reasons for it. Limited set of conditions, innovative people, expensive people, and this has completely changed programming. If you want to see how your profession is going to change, watch what happened to them, and you know it's coming in a year, in 2 or 5 years. So programming. Look at this image. Of course, this image was generated by AI. So AI is not just about text. In fact, it's about images, it's about video, it's about DNA, it's about land data, anything that you want, it's exactly the same algorithm. Is it the end of humanity? No, that's one answer. What's the other answer? Yes? As we know it. I like that. So it is the end of humanity, as we know it. We now have to develop a new type of humanity. And if you don't agree with me, that's fine, but that's what's going to happen. That's fine. It's going to happen. The technology is here, and it will change all of us. Why? And this is the most important thing, coming back. AGI is the biggest transformation ever. We have not seen, as the human race, such a change. It's bigger than fire, it's bigger than engine, it's bigger than cities, it's bigger than printing press, it's bigger than the internet, than mobile phones, whatever. It's bigger, bigger, bigger. Why? Because for the first time, we have an entity that is not just making humans stronger, faster. We have an entity that thinks better than us. And I know it's very difficult for people to understand that. But today, I'm not talking future, today, the current tools that we have are more efficient, not 99% of the population, 100% of the population. And this is today. Biggest transformation ever. So, assumptions and goals of this talk. Number one, huge change. So glad that you're in a Adizes conference because you know how to deal with change. Now let me explain what the change is coming. So I'm going to just explain that. The rest is your problem, right? Don't care. Just you deal with it. Why this is such a big change? It is a huge change because everything is software-oriented. I'm looking at this company, they make hardware. I look at the company that won, they make building. This is so complicated. If you have a mistake in buildings, it can take months to fix. Software, have a mistake, boom, you fix it the next day, the next hour. Everything is stored in the data, everything is stored in the cloud, and every time all of you are opening up your computer and going to ChatGPT, and every time you ask a question, you teach the computer one more thing. I'm not sure you fully understand. When you ask a question, sometimes you get two answers. Why do you get two answers? You get two answers because the computer identified that you are a great person to teach them something about the answer. It measures how much time it took you to ask the next question, and from that decipher if the question was good or bad. It constantly do experiment on you. You ask the same question, sometimes it will tell you, very good question. Sometimes it will tell you, not interesting question. And it will check your response, and it will compare it to all your other responses. So it's a learning mechanism. The best way to start with AGI is to experiment, both as individuals and as organizations. And really, the point of this discussion is to encourage you to experiment. Give you a little bit of a context, basic terminology, give you a sense of the current state. That is the three examples that I'm going to give you. And motivate all of us to delve into this, because the beast is big. Very good. Please read this. Pick up one that you like. Pick up one that you like. Which one did you choose? Health. Very good. Which one did you choose? Which one? Development. Which one did you choose? So people thought they were passive. Wrong. Go ahead.
Machines can think better.
Excellent. Last but not least, which one? CEO guide. So, of course, best answer over here, CEO guide, because actually this is exactly the last slide of this talk. And I'm very glad that you actually read that, because these are, every week, I take the best question that somebody asked me and I formally answer it in my blog. And I will actually give you a link to all of that. And at the end, you will come back to your questions and we will follow with that. How? Everybody say, connect with me at the end. No, connect with me now. Coming from Israel, you never know when you're going to have a bomb. Crazy. This will direct you directly into my LinkedIn, and I will actually publish the notes, also in the conference, but also here. I met AI about 30 years ago when I was teaching a course called Introduction to Prolog. How many people here are familiar with Prolog? It's called programming language. It was an unbelievable promise. You would listen to the doctors, you would listen to the engineers, you would listen to them very well, and then you would program their thinking into the computer. The whole assumption was that you can identify the logic, the semantic logic behind the profession, and therefore program it into the computer. That semantic approach was the winner for about 30 years. Until about 7 years ago, there came paper from Google, by the way, and this paper has a very good name. It's called All That You Need Is Attention. And All That You Need Is Attention, that paper basically says, no, you don't have to understand anything in terms of the meaning at all. It's all mathematical relationship. So if you have enough data, you can calculate it and give it an answer. Please remember that, because currently, 90% of what you are doing with quote-unquote LLMs, AI, does not even understand what you are saying. It has no semantic meaning whatsoever. It's all mathematical. I'm saying 90% because there's a layer on top of it that actually does know what you are saying. Because if you would ask how to commit suicide, it captures the word suicide and it pushes up another guardrail and you will not get an answer. So that is the semantic part. Why I'm saying that? It's a pure mathematical technology that does not understand the language, the actual language that you are asking. does not understand the meaning, does not understand the concept. For them, it's all mathematics. That is why it also works exactly the same thing for images, for DNA, and for any type of data. It's exactly the same thing. A word about the context. Context. AI huge, AGI huge, etc. But it's huge out there. You have your own problems and situations and organizations. Before you start thinking about using AI or implementing AI, you have to clarify to yourself, what is the goal of your organization? What do you want to accomplish? And there are many. Depends on who's the owner, depends the long term, the cash situation, the this, the that, etc. You have to understand something else. And I think many people in this room already know that. I actually find that usually organizations are not familiar with that concept. You don't have one vision. You have many visions. In fact, you cannot have one vision. It's impossible to have one vision in this crazy world that we are in. It's just impossible. As a leader of the organization, you have to prepare yourself for many visions. Many visions. So past, one vision. Current, get ready for many visions. How do you get ready for many visions? Many components. But one component which is extremely important is your digital readiness. Digital readiness is the #1 capacity to facilitate change. Remember what I said. Digital capacity is the #1 facilitator of change. If you have strong digital capabilities, you are able to change. How you build this is through actions and programs, etc. And this is what people do. Why I'm showing you this slide? It's not a course about transformation. It's because to understand that AGI is one component, a very important component. I'm going to spend all the time talking about that, but it's a component. If you are the CEO of the organization, your life is complicated anyhow. Now you have one more thing to think about, and it's a small thing. How you push the transformation forward, I'm always talking about the combination of 4 forces: the digital itself, the business that needs to change, the culture, very much Adizes oriented, and of course the leadership that pushes everything forward. Our goal is to build a balance. Now is the important point. You see this is a small elephant here? AGI is coming. AGI is here. AGI is important. If you are an organization, you have other huge problems already now without AGI. You don't need AGI to have problems, as we all know. So here, look at it. It's a very small elephant. And your job is to assess whether this elephant is relevant to you today, tomorrow, and how. This is going to be my last slide today, the 5 steps, how the elephant is relevant to me. Many organizations come to me, Yesha, what should I do when it comes to AI? So the guy comes to me, or the lady comes to me, and I have a counter question. What is the status of your Active Directory? Now, who understood this question here in this audience? Only you guys I talk to. Because if the person that has asked me that question have no idea what I just asked, they are in such low capacity to make decisions about digital that they have to go through a lot of learning before they can even begin the discussion. This is a very important point. AGI is a technical discussion. At the end of the day, it's an engineering discussion. Remember, it starts with the digital, it goes through the business. Okay, having understanding what can I do with the business, how can I implement it within my culture, and then how I'm going to lead it. Not a simple matter at all. Now you understand the big elephant, you understand the small elephant. Let me go back to the big elephant. Here are some interesting examples. I do a lot of work in the pharma industry. I don't think there are any people here. Pharma industry is a complete, total mess, really changing, so many things happening, etc. And there are many AIs that are helping in various occasions. But today, we are not talking about specific solutions. We are talking about, tatam, general. I'll repeat that because every time I do animation means it's an important slide. Look. Ta-tam. One more time. Good. I know it works. Ta-tam. For you personally afterwards. Look, don't confuse using AI to solve a particular problem, which is good. We have done it for many years. It's become cheaper, become better, etc. With using the same tool to solve many problems, like a giant mind serving us. This is the promise of AGI today. Give you 4 examples, different examples. Example number 1, from 25 to 45. The truth about truth. You want the answer now? There's no truth. There never was. Let me prove. So here is a lady, and she was generated by this prompt. So from this set of words, you are able to generate this lady. You understand that she does not exist in the world at all, right? Never existed. Click, 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 you get the girl. I think many people are thinking a lot of thoughts. Let me be very flexible here. 25 is a little bit younger. For me personally, change the scene, 45 years old. So look, very easy. All you go in, you change the parameter over here, 25 to 45, and you get her. Right? But if we're already on the path, let's see what, what will happen in the future. Let's do 65. Many people do not believe this, but I'm telling you, this is the AI. That's what they said. 2 clicks, you get it. Okay? We're now getting to see the video. Hopefully it will work. Because what I did was to take this data. This becomes the prompt, not the textual. This becomes the prompt. I feed it into a video AI generator, and ta-ta-ta-tam, you get her live. And again, I re-explain, she does not exist. This beach does not exist. Her jewelry does not exist. Her glasses do not exist. Nothing exists. Nothing. Bottom line, everything that you see now is a lie, because everything can be generated. No image can be trusted, and no video can be trusted. And if you are paying $20 for OpenAI, how many people are doing it here? Very good. You can access Sora free for you, part of the $20. You can generate videos already, 8 seconds, 16 seconds, 32 seconds. If you have Google, you can also do that with Via 3. That's a parallel system. Everyone, and this is especially for us, India next year, right? Getting ready, India next year. All what you see here is generated. Nothing exists. Nothing exists. So the truth about truth, I don't know if you knew that, but there's no such thing as truth. In fact, there was never such thing as truth. Everything is a lie. I really recommend that that's the way you think about the world. And then you can ask me, what has changed? I'll tell you. The cost of creating the lie is now cheaper. Which means, by the way, I don't know if I have it. Oh, I have it here. Adizes, look. If we cannot trust any fact or anybody, how do we manage ourselves? How do we create business if everything can be faked? It's a huge question, and it's now. Of course, this was one example. I want to move to another example, and my goal is, again, to take you out of the AI as a search, right? AI is not a search. One of the things that we do with AI is you build your own mind. That's part of what my company is doing. I'll give you another example. So you go into the system, and you say, I want to have a Yesha. I want to build up a bot called Ask Yesha. Because people ask me too many questions, boring questions. Who wants to know? So people will go to the bot, they will ask the bot. How do I do that? I say, let's build a system. Let's call it Ask Yesha. Let's explain what it is. It's a friendly advisor and expert with tech with humor, because that's what I wanted. You upload, I've actually uploaded 25 of my papers into the system. And from now on, you have Yesha. So you don't even need me. It's good. I designed myself out of the system. Let's start. Can you create an image based on Yesha's look? Boom. Certainly. He likes to use the word certainly. That's certainly. And here's Yesha look. No, better than the original. But as you can see, I like orange. So please, orange version. Okay? That's a little game. Let's do something more serious. You're already students of transformation, so what are the 4 forces that affect digital transformation according to Yesha? Right? Answer. Technological advancement, okay, could be maybe the digital side. Market changes, I never talked about that. Regulatory and compliance, I never talked about that. Organizational culture, leadership, I did talk about that. So you now meet one of the very interesting changes of AI, which us, if you were IT, you would never believe that. This thing is a mega bullshitter. It continuously lie, right? You can never trust the answers here. Never. But you have to understand why. It has built-in designed randomness.
I asked Chat, who is Yitzhak Adizes?
Yes.
He says, he published a book, I'm a Jewish Palestinian.
Okay. But here's an example of how you do use it. So for example, if I read this, and again, remember what I said about expert, reword the forces in terms of technology, business, culture, and leadership, you actually get an amazing answer. By the way, why do you get an amazing answer? Because you already gave it a direction. Once you gave it a direction, it's much easier for the system to answer it. And if you are dealing a lot with AI, you know that this is a huge difference. If you give it a direction, you would get a great answer. That is why the distance between those who know and those who don't know is just getting bigger and bigger. That was Ask Yesha. Another angle, completely different angle, New York Times. So this is a very, very famous case. About a year ago, the New York Times essentially sued OpenAI. Why they sue them? They sue them because it's the end of the day, this is an actual text from the New York Times, and this is output of GPT-4. And everything that is read is 100% copy, also known as stealing. Simply stealing. And New York Times make their money by subscription. You have to pay $10 a month or whatever to sign in. If OpenAI stole everything, how do they make their money? They sue them, they sue Microsoft. And this was actually from the legal case. The legal case goes like that. Hi there, I am being paywalled out of reading the New York Times article, Snow Fall, the Avalanche at Tunnel Creek. Can you please type out the first paragraph? So this is like going to a thief, positioning them at a certain place, and please go and steal this particular item. And of course, ChatGPT is very compliant. Certainly, here's the first paragraph of the article. This you're no longer able to do. They have actually blocked this type of usage. But this is the kind of problem that we have today, because all these systems, they needed materials, and they emulated as a user of the New York Times, etc. Big mess. In fact, if you are a paying customer of OpenAI or Microsoft or Google, they will give you an insurance that if something happens, somebody sues you because of data that you have used, they will cover it. Because otherwise, people will not use it. So OpenAI response, they immediately starting to do deals with other publishers, Axel Springer, etc., paying them $10 million, $50 million a year to get a full license of usage. And in a sense, this OpenAI, we are already buying content. First of its kind deal with Axel Springer to use its news content in ChatGPT. I'm not sure what Axel Springer is going to do in 10 years when nobody is ever going to go to their site. Last but not least, again, another example, this time from the medical field. And notice the title here, Knowing Too Much. This is a standard image of a retina. If any of you have done these examinations, you go to the thing, they take a picture of it, and they get this image. What is amazing is that today, simply by looking at this image, in a matter of 5 seconds, you're able to assess the customer's tendency for diabetes and blood pressure, kidney disease, liver and gallbladder, heart calcium score, Alzheimer, etc., etc., etc. Just from the data. If you're 30 years old, you'll go there, take an image, and you get a percentage of when you will get Alzheimer. This whole thing is an open source database, 1.6 million retina images, that you can take and turn it into a business of yourself. Now, this is just one example like that. Amount of data, some processing, and now repercussion. So I'll give you a tip here. Would you like to know your calcium heart score? Anybody wants to know that? Yes, you should know that. Why? Because there's actually something you can do about it. Would you like to know your Alzheimer age? That's wonderful, but there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing, zero. So you want to spend the next 20 years knowing you're going to have Alzheimer. Now, this is not to be taken lightly. This is a real question that HMOs in the world are now facing. Because with data, and you will not believe the type of data that they have now, you can know a lot about the patient. Sometimes you can do something about it. In many times, there's nothing you can do about it. And then the question, do you want to know? So, to reiterate, we talked about the transformation contents, small elephant. We talked about AGI cases, gave you the examples. So what do you do? What do you do? And this is before the questions. So what do you do? I'm eager to move to the next slide, but it doesn't want to go. Maybe you move to the next slide for me? Yes, no? Hello? AI took over, that's it. Let me go like this. No, this doesn't work. Are we okay? Oh. Let me talk without slides, that's difficult. Okay. I am talking about, you tell me when to start, right? Now? No, not yet. Restart of the whole thing. Okay. I'm talking about 5 steps. The first step is very important. It's what I call individual use. What is important about this step is that you have no excuse whatsoever, meaning you don't need anything. You can just go ahead and do it. You don't need any IT involved. You don't need any special things. You just go ahead and do it. Okay? Test. Ta-tam. Generic personal tools. Just use it in your day-to-day. One option, take your top 20 innovators in your organization, ask them to sign up to any AI tool that they want, could be OpenAI, could be Microsoft, etc., and just refund the $20 to them. Come back in a month, how did you use it? One option. You can do a quarter, you can do this, but start using it in a meaningful way. This is extremely important because we are talking about a completely new language here. There are so many nuances and so many things that just from daily 5 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day or using it as a search engine, you will never get. So individual using, personal productivity is great. Second level is what I call here business function tools. Specific departments can use AI to do their job. Classical example is marketing. Marketing is the best user today of AI. You can write briefs, you can do images, you can write slogans, you can do this, you can do that. Very, very easy. Very easy. Plus, it's generic. Everybody's doing marketing, right? Some kind of marketing. So clearly, now there's all kinds of specific AI tools for this. For example, presentations, you may want to use something called Gamma, etc., but doesn't matter. These are specific tools for specific departments. Generic. Number 3. Number 3 is where you find a tool that is meant to help you do your job, your industry. Right? Classical example, you are a BMW and you want to go into the autonomous driving tool. You're not going to sit down at home and develop it yourself. You will buy that service from somebody else. But this is specific to your industry and, of course, calls for much more integration. This is becoming complicated. Actually, very few organizations can handle that. But here, the organization invests in AI tailored to the industry, to the particular industry that you're in. Dental, okay, I gave you this name of a company that is doing something. You check it. If it's good, it's good. It's not good, but you have something. Industry specific. Number 4 is in the maturity level, almost the highest level, and it is when you are able to embed AI into your product or service. This is a high level. There's a thin line between 3 and 4. You know what is the thin line? In 4, the customer understands that you're using AI, and he or she starts to look at you as an AI player. In 3, they will not know. Classical example, you're a bank, you can replace the teller that is approving the loan with AI, and the customer will never know. In 4, they will know. I mean, our AI agent will be with you. And number 5 is when you develop your own AI capabilities, meaning you're building your own models. Very, very difficult, and I don't think it's for anybody in this room, period. Companies are coming to me and I said, you're too small for it. It's very, very complicated. Technology changes very, very quickly, and you need a lot of engineering power to build such a thing. Very few companies are doing it. But that's the highest level because you have created an AI that is you. Example, McKinsey. McKinsey took 10,000 of their top presentations and created their own LLM with track back to the presentation. And this year, they did not fire 10,000 people. You know what they did? They simply did not hire anybody new. And 10,000 people every year leave them. That's it, a fact of life in terms of consulting, replaced. So if you want to take the nutshell of this presentation for organization, this is the 5 level. And now we come, and of course, recommendations start there. That's kind of a beginning. Very important point to discussion. So I want you to imagine there's a fire here and everybody is feeling the warmth. And I'm eager to listen to your questions.
AGI and AI.
Okay, good question. So the question was AI by itself or AGI? So AI would be software that solves a particular problem, right? You collect the data, you're using some AI technologies to solve a particular problem. AGI is when you have a technology that is a general thinker. Means that you can ask it both to cook you dinner and to solve your cancer. The beauty of modern AGI, and by the way, if you have a Mac and you're downloading OpenAI client, OpenAI client will read your screen all the time. And if they see that they can help you in some way, they will tell you, I can help you right now. And it doesn't matter what you do. You can do web, you can do writing, you can do videos. It will tell you all kinds of things. So the general is technically multimodality, understanding text, video, images, and able to solve all kinds of problems. Excellent question. Yes, go ahead.
Yesha, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is, I think, a lot to take for most of us. But
people thought afternoon they're going to retire, sleep a little bit. No.
No. On the contrary. So the question I would ask is, I think many of us, I might say maybe the majority of us are already kind of using
Yes.
in some capacity
Yes.
this. But I'm constantly asking myself what's the next step in the roadmap, and I'm asking particularly as an individual, you know,
Yes.
because sometimes you
Yes.
cannot push the entire organization to go there.
Correct. So let me tell you a simple thing. So I asked how many people are using chat. Many people talked about it and said, how many people are paying? Then many people said. Now here's another question. How many people here are using Canvas. Okay, you did not put your hand up, you're behind the curve, because you should have already used Canvas. And this is an example. Now, what is Canvas, for your information? Canvas is a document that you see on the screen, and it has two windows. Left window is your regular chat window, and the right is the outcome. And you work in parallel. You can select a paragraph, and on the side say, fix it. Select a paragraph, you can say, give me more examples. Expand this from 1 paragraph to 3 paragraphs. You just tell it the instructions, and boom, it works. So that is a particular example. I'll give you another example. How many people here are familiar with Google Notebook LM? Notebook LM. Write it down, please. Write it down, because this is like basics. What is Notebook LM? Free tool, doesn't cost. You give it a document, 2 documents, 3 documents, a website, and you tell it, please create a podcast, 10 minutes. Boom, you get a podcast of 10 minutes. Unbelievable. And it's amazing. I mean, and if you think about it, it's so simple. Because one entity creates the text, another entity, like 11 Labs, creates the voice, and boom, you get it. To annoy you even more, a month ago, they've released another feature, which is unbelievable. Really, you look at it and say, it's crazy. They have a button there. The button is, I have a question. You click on the button. They stop the talking, said, Yesha, I understand you have a question. You tell the question in voice. They weave the answer to your question in the podcast. Amazing. And this is free today to use. Amazing. By the way, I use it a lot. Summary. I like to write reports like crazy. So I have a huge client. I write like 20-page report. They hate it. But I know they love it because I know that the people who needs to read it. But rest of the people in the middle are lazy bums, not saying names. Send them a podcast. They like it. There are hundreds of little shticks like that, really. Excellent. Go ahead.
Hi, Silvia from Mexico.
Thank you.
At the beginning, everybody talked about prompt.
Yes.
And the good thing to be writing like very good prompts or
Correct.
long prompts. But now it seems it's easier, but maybe it's taking more time. What tips would you give us to not spend a lot of time iterating and make the best of it?
Actually, the answer was in the question. It's actually iterating is the solution. Why? Because, well, 2 things. First of all, you have to pick up the right model according to your task. Sometimes you like the faster models, like 4.0, 4.1 if you're using ChatGPT, because you give the answer very quickly. Sometimes you need more research. By the way, OpenAI just announced that 3.0 is now 10 times more accessible, blah, 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 and you can get it. But if you need research, you may want to give it to 3.0 to spend the 10 minutes. Now, why iteration is the answer? And people, again, it's anti the mode of search. People search and that's it, they leave it. No, ask the quick question and then say, I don't like the answer, please give me more examples. Or I like the answer, but please compare it to other things. Interactive. I'll give you a concrete example. 2 weeks ago, in preparation for this conference, I wrote a blog post in honor of Dr. Adizes, say AI meet Adizes theory. And what I wanted to say is, hey, you have AI and the PAI, how do they affect the shield and the sword of each? You start with basic assumptions. Give me a list of pros and cons. You get something. Pick up the 2 that is most interesting. Pick up the 3. Expand on this, shorten this. Put the whole content in Canvas. Fine-tune the whole thing for a blog post. So you work with the tool. These are nano behaviors that you need to understand. I often compare it to driving. You know, driving, you learn when you're young, and there's a lot of small things you have to pay attention to, right? It's the same, but the problem is every week you get a new car. Because really the tools are changing all the time. Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
Today we had Jurga, Vilnius Adizes Institute, Lithuania. Today we have had rector. We also have a dean from Ukraine.
Yes, yes.
Well, with what you present...
Has-beens. Meaningless.
What is the meaning to educate students? What's the point to arrange exams? They can do whatever without knowing anything, just to know how to communicate with AR. How do you see the future?
That's not a 2-hour lecture, that's a 20-hour lecture. You know, it's very funny, when I started to teach at the Technion, the dean of the graduate school called me up, and she said, you know, Yesha, in the MBA, we teach. I said, oh, what's new about it? They said, no, because the undergraduate, we don't teach. Universities are not meant to teach you. They are meant to lock you in a room and make you study. That's the meaning of a good university. If you go to Harvard, you know, I went to the first lesson thing, and the guy said, you see these 3 books. I said, wonderful, in the whole course we're going to read 3 books. And he said, no, these 3 books is for next week. And that's it, and you had to do it, and you don't know how to, you can't do it. The meaning of learning is going to expand. You will learn your entire life. Lifelong learning is what is going to happen. The fact that these institutions are still in the past is something that will change, because the society will no longer want to pay for this thing that doesn't create value at the end. So I think these guys, I think somebody said you have the most difficult job. I think you're absolutely right in terms of academia needs to change. Absolutely. Good. Yes.
Pavel Belaruski, Adizes worldwide.
Yes, yes.
Does AGI already exist? And if it doesn't, what do you think? When do you think it will exist? And what? Because I got the impression that it's here, but it's not, right?
Well, there's many definitions for AGI, and actually some of the companies are now pushing another term, which is superintelligence. Let me give you an answer. Today, any situation of a question, AGI gives better answer. In most cases. Now, I'll give you a particular example. There's a research. They took 100 doctors. 50 of them, they gave them a set of diseases and they ranked them. The total grade was 74. 50, they gave them AI and said, give us the answer. The grade was 78, so they got a little bit better, right? But then you took the same questions to pure AI, and AI got 96. This is actual research measured, and not even in the latest AI. Humans are in the, I think there was a question here, are a problem now at this point, in many of the cases, right? They cannot digest the amount of information that AI can. They cannot be nice to the patients as AI can. The highest ranking use today of AI is replacing psychologists. Highest, recent Harvard research. So there are still some technical issues and this and that, but it's coming in. And as organizations, we need to ask ourselves how our work will change. If you are a taxi driver, in 5 years you will not exist because you will be replaced. And this is, you can go to San Francisco and see Waymo, and it's happening. If you are a Adizes consultant, you probably will not replace. They may ask you different questions. You may have different challenges, but that's the beauty of dealing with change. Change is coming all the time. Every profession needs to ask themselves how they will change. And every individual within the profession, how am I changing with this new age? Yes, please.
How the hell do I make it listen to me?
That's a good question.
I write a piece,
Yes.
as in just edit, and I say, don't
Change anything.
just
Yes.
grammar and typos.
Yes.
He does whatever he wants.
Yes.
Again,
So I have two answers. I'll give you two answers. I'll repeat the question. The question, Tzchak Adizes and I have weekly meetings on playing with AI, and he's a great user of the matter. But, sometimes you just want to fix the English. Don't want to give me new ideas. Just fix the English, right? That's very simple. And it doesn't. It just replaces the paragraphs. This paragraph is not important. Yeah, it does what he wants. And so remember the driving thing that I said?
by the way,
Yes.
if I get upset with him,
Yes. Yes, of course. So I did an observation on the great user called Tzchak Adizes. So he clicks on the thing and then it disappears. Of course it disappeared. Still, there are some technical matters, technical things, like in driving, that you have to know. For example, you have to know that nothing is wiped out. Everything is in memory. By the way, as of the last month, everything that you write stays in memory. Everything. You can go and ask them, remember we talked about the trip to Vilnius? It said, yes, I remember, how can I help?
No, but he has a screwed up memory.
Yeah.
I mean, the memory gives you something else, you know?
I think there's special treatment for Adizes. Yes. But I want to tell you something very, very interesting that happened to me 6 months ago. I was writing one of these blog posts on the zombification of people. People becoming zombies, and that's terrible. Okay. Right. And I said at the end, give me a comparative table of Sesame Street, YouTube, and TikTok. And give me the pros and cons of each. And then do a column of summary of the total value. And of course, I have my opinions, but I wanted to see what it says. The paper is called 50 Years of Zombification. Because why 50 years? Because the Sesame Street started 50 years ago. And when I was in Harvard, one of my professors was head of psychologists. And really, they embedded lots of manipulation in the program. The whole terrible world today started with Big Bird. That was the beginning. Anyhow, I get the answer. Blah, 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 I read. And then I read the thing on TikTok. And at the summary of TikTok, it says, overall, positive value to the world. Now, of course, I believe that TikTok is the devil. It's like killing us. But I noticed, observed myself, said, why are you saying this is good? It's like it was a person, like a consultant. Why are you saying, maybe you have a point? And this was the point where I understood the most important thing. This entity thinks better than I do. Really. I'm a good thinker, trust me. He thinks better. Now, still, my role to judge, to approve, to give my name to it. Nobody cares because that's what I said, and I agree with it. But you start to understand the power behind this massive intelligence. And that's why a couple of weeks later, I wrote this piece. The computer can think better than you. Now face it. But that is life. That's what we need Adizes.
But as we say, that's a beast. So, Yesha, by listening to you, I got even more scared. So now I understood, why you showed that Ask Yesha. So we probably would be coming to you very often. Thank you so much.
Thank
Big
you very
thanks to
much.
him.
Thank you.